And so Christian says, Christensen only one who is truly and perfectly God and at the same time truly and perfectly man can undo the malevolent forces wreaking havoc on our planet and the ruin of creators, right? The creations of God who bear a shattered image of their God. Right, only one who is both God and man can resolve this particular issue is what he's getting at, and so the incarnation had to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and is this in this idea of the Trinity, which we always, I think early on we say things like, oh, it's 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. It's like, well, if you want to get in there, it's 1 × 1 × 1, or it's this understanding of
use the right math.
Well, yeah, there's a Trinity where I'm having to kind of think of my what exactly are my classifications, and so being and person come in, and so within the nature of Christ, he doesn't exist like in a Trinity form himself, but he is of two natures. He is of a fullness of two. And so he has to be both in order for this to happen. And is that possible? And so as we get further into this chapter, again, a really good job of showing exactly why this needs to be and why these definitions are important. All right, so the mystery of the Incarnation says that, he goes on to say, even though Chalcedon brought us a clarity concerning the identity of Christ, it was not removed. It hasn't removed all the mystery surrounding the Incarnation. Who would think that an all-powerful, all-knowing God who creates everything out of nothing would leave us with a few questions?
Yeah, really. Some mystery.
I'm not exactly sure how this happens. Well, okay. Well, we only have a certain book that we view as his authoritative word, and guess what? He doesn't tell us why our Aunt Anne had to die at a certain point in time, but does it speak to the greater story of why death is happening, and how does he move within that? Well, he doesn't tell us absolutely everything.
Right,
there is still this mystery retained, but it does offer us a specific revelation that we wouldn't have gotten just by looking out to the stars and thinking about things really, really hard. Without forfeiting anything of his infinite divine essence, again, very important, the Son of God suddenly appears within his person a finite human nature that would appear to be incongruous with his pre-existing divine nature. It seems contradictory, but instead of contradiction, it's a paradox. It's this unexpected thing that happens, and in a Old Testament, in a world where unexpected comes from what is expected. Oh, it's definitely going to be this first person that's going to hold the power. Oh, second person. Oh,
that's right.
It's not even these two. It's the third one. These unexpected things happen, and we should expect the unexpected.
Right. Yeah, and that's what Christensen tells us, right? This does not create a contradiction, right? He asks the question, does it, right? He says, how the issue is how can the uncreated creator, right, and the created be united in one person, right? This, he says it seems like asking how fire and ice can coexist.
Yeah.
Right?
And this hot fire is really cold. Yeah.
But he says there's really no formal contradiction.
Right, an A and a not A.
Right,
it's the car's in the garage and it's not in the garage. That would be a formal contradiction.
Exactly right. He says there is a deep, as you mentioned there, paradox and mystery, right? One that is essential to our understanding of how the crisis of the fall not only is solved, but supremely magnifies the glory of the transcendent authority of history, right? So he solves a problem and it glorifies God at the same time.
Right.